Hello, my name is Dũng. Today, I would like to give you 13 talks on news. Number 1. First, the speaker announced the Central Water Authority had advised all residents that day to use sled water. Finally, he explained there was very little water in the reservoir and the rain is not expected for the weeks. Number 2. First, the speaker announced many of the patients at city's hospital had received holiday gifts from children from our local school. Finally, he said, for keeping in the spirit of the holiday season, the doctors and nurses had been given presents as well. Number 3. First, the speaker announced Computer Magazine had reported that day that the California company had announced the entry of the new computer. Next, he said that computer was smaller and faster than other computers currently on the market. Finally, he thought business travel would find it very useful. Number 4. First, the speaker announced all banks, public offices, and schools were closed that day because of the heavy snowfall and would remain closed until the week after. Finally, he advised all residents to stay home because most roads were closed. Number 5. First, the speaker announced Malaysia and Canada had signed a cultural exchange agreement that day. The culture minister of both countries had attended a concert after signing. Next, he said the countries would exchange artists, orchestras, dance groups. However, drama groups were not included. Finally, he hoped a new trade agreement would follow. Number 6. First, the speaker announced the resident had left last week on a 2-week tour of Asia, and that was his first foreign tour since he had taken the office. Next, he said the resident would meet with a head of state of 5 different countries. Finally, he said his wife was accompanying him on the trip. Number 7. First, the speaker announced traffic had been stopped for more than 4 hours the day before because of an accident. A car had hit a bus on State Street at about 5:30 p.m. Next, he said 3 bus passengers had been taken into hospital. Finally, he announced police had closed 2 blocks of State Street until 9:45 and had directed traffic to Main Street. Number 8. First, the speaker announced thousands of people had gone downtown the morning before to see the annual National Day parade, and the parade had been led by their newly elected mayor and her family. Next, he said after the parade, the public had enjoyed an afternoon of free concerts in City Park. Finally, he said nice weather and great music had made a pleasant day for all. Number 9. The speaker said an increase in sales tax had been announced the day before, and the tax would go up from 5% to 7%. Next, he said some store owners feared that would cause people to buy fewer things. Finally, he announced the new tax would go into effect next month. Number 10. First, the speaker announced the new high-speed train service to the nation's capital had begun the day before. Next, he said passengers preferred taking the train because it was more convenient than the plane. Finally, he said 3 trains a day from the downtown station for the capital, and the trip took 2 hours and 55 minutes by the train, but only 4 hours by plane. Number 11. First, the speaker announced the United Nations appealed to its membership that day for an additional $20 million to buy more drugs and paused the speed distribution of supplies to the victims of the East after its famine. Next, he said the food and medicine had donated by concerned governments were piling up at the doors. Finally, he announced a UN spokespeople said if the food couldn't be moved to approximately 10.8 million families victims, distribution of grant will be cut in half within 3 months. Number 12. First, the speaker announced Japan's high savings rate was a drag on the Japanese economy and on the rest of the world as well. Next, he said for decades that high savings pattern had provided inexpensive investment funds to businesses which have Japan's high economic growth. But the downside was the scarcity of consumer loans. Finally, he said, further, a high saving rate reduced the value of the yen on the international market. That expands Japan's trade surplus, which in turn caused protectionist pressures in other countries. Number 13. First, the speaker announced the Canadian Minister of Trade paid an unannounced visit to the land the weekend before for talk with its president. Next, he announced they discussed the improving trade relation between two countries over the last 6 months. Finally, he said commercial affairs had dominated the attention of the expected embassies there since the first trade pact had been signed the January before. Thanks for listening.